my old Facebook page live, which I had 3,000 friends. And as it was playing out, what I'm about to talk about, it was embarrassing. It was something I was going through for about 5 years of my marriage. 5 years of my marriage. And I silenced myself. You know, I didn't want to talk about it. Being abused. It didn't happen in the beginning. He was very kind. He was very nice. I fell in love with him. He begged me to marry him. I begged him.
Dress as big or as small as I want them on a daily basis. I can use whatever bathroom I want. I don't consider myself a chick with a because I go to sleep as a woman, I wake up as a woman, I take a shower as a woman, I do everything as a woman. So I'm the woman of the millennium because I'm different. And the men can have the best of both worlds with me, right? Right.
Damn! There you go. See?
Woman 2000.
This is what I call the woman of the millennium.
They're two different colors. No, you can't take that. They're two different colors. They won't. Okay, hold this. I'll show you. This is a titty.
Wow.
Okay. Yes. That's the nipple.
Are condoms?
Yes, those are condoms.
So what is
No, now it's
a bunch
empty.
of layers, water,
Huh.
just waters in there, and this is how you make it. I layer mine, and this is the strong condom. This is latex. This one, the outside one.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is blue. And I'll show you the red one.
Those are for the titties.
I'll show you the left one. No, block these men. There's men are looking. And this is red.
I like the red one. Can you make me some?
How big do you want them?
About an
Because my bras are small, so I can't make them too big. Because one day I made them big, and it just
Down.
and they jiggle and they move,
That's how I
just like yours, Becky.
They like Lisa, those men over there. See? And the titties that she wears are good defense because she could just put them on and turn to somebody that would try to hit her.
They do jiggle.
Yeah, they do. They're just like real. See? We're talking about your titties, they jiggle.
Come here. How did you feel when you walked in the Gay Pride Club?
The first time I was so excited and everything, and I was like, wow, because at the beginning I thought I was
are experiencing homelessness each year in the United States. Roughly 40% are LGBTQ. Yonce experienced homelessness at a young age.
I have been HIV positive since 2002. I grew up in a lot of places because I was in group homes and bounced around from foster home to foster home. I was homeless for 5 years in apartment programs and out. I was living in an SRO, that's a shelter for people living with HIV.
Homeless adolescents have remained an underserved population throughout the HIV and AIDS epidemic. Yonce lives in New York City, where the state offers housing and healthcare assistance to people living with HIV.
So when I told people that I was HIV, it either played against me or played for me. If I met a man and he had no place to live, me being HIV positive was not an issue because me being HIV positive usually meant in New York City that I had a place to live. I had an apartment, I was on health care, I was doing very good.
The stigma of HIV often means it's harder to find a relationship partner. Yonce can relate.
So we have something called bug chasers. It is when someone who is HIV negative wants to find someone who is HIV positive. Sometimes I engage in a conversation just to ask what's going on. Because if someone's seeking HIV, there's something going on, whether it's mental or usually it's because they're homeless and they want to end their homelessness. People with HIV in New York City get housing, food stamps, benefits, health care. But I always let them know, I can't give it to you because I'm undetectable.
bug chasing is not welfare related. There are different motivations that result in someone seeking out to contract HIV. But what's most important here is that Yonce is working to end the systemic issues that lead to bug chasing in the first place.
I was in a shelter when I met the people at Harlem United. I'm not homeless anymore. I have a beautiful apartment. I'm very grateful. I landed an internship here at Harlem United. I ran a couple programs here. I was part of the Peer Empowerment Leader Program, which was funded by AIDS United. I led a field trip to DC where we spoke to assembly members. We were trying to get laws changed surrounding HIV. So I will be conducting seeking safety training for trans women. And I'm also going to be a recovery coach, and I'm going to get state certified as a peer.
One thing's clear. Attitudes to HIV/AIDS definitely aren't the same as they once were.
Oh my gosh, Yonce.
Yes.
How did you, can I get your autograph?
Yeah, sure. Who should I make it out to?
Oh shoot.
Join me. Get to know me. Cry with me. Laugh with me. Most of all, have fun with me. Skittles, you ruin my promo every time. Come out talk show. Well, you never know what you're gonna get. What's up, y'all? As you can see, things are running a little different tonight, but I leave it in safe hands. Join me in welcoming our hosts for the evening, and here they go.
Yes indeed. I know the vibe will be live right here in New York City, the Pink Palace. Welcome y'all to the Come Out Talk Show. Yes indeed. I'm your host, King Clee Trell, and we are here in New York City at the Pink Palace.
You're a rebel, getting into trouble. You're kinda like a fire, like a fire, like a fire. Unpredictable, so original. You were never backing down, backing down, backing down. That's what I like about you. So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you. I go all in to lose or win. Real things up to knock 'em down. It's People say, people say, people say I'm going crazy for you, baby. Don't know how you're making me feel this way. What can I say?
A special guest tonight. This lady holds a lot of hats. So without further ado, Yonce Jones, please come out.
Hey, look at Skills. Skills dressed up for his mommy, and we are coming from an Academy Award. Thank you, thank you. I love you all. Oh my Skills. Oh my God. Gorgeous. Thank you. I'm gonna grab my drink because I know I'm gonna need it. Thank you, thank you. What's up, y'all?
Hey. Again, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope everyone can see the canvas up here of Pink Princess. Her cast, her crew gave this to her, and when I walked in today, that's the first thing that I honestly saw. Is beautiful, just like you are.
With his big head and everything. I have a big head.
No, you don't. So, without further ado, I'm Queen Sheba, and I am introducing my girl, the Pink Princess. I consider her my second daughter. Actually, I have another daughter that I claim as well. And she is very accomplished. You saw in her videos her journey to get to where and what we see here today. And it's a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Who has
skills. Let's go.
Who has really made a space in this world for yourself and for others as an ambassador to you're a spokesperson for You Equals You.
Yes.
You have a collaboration with Merck Pharmacies.
Yes.
And we'll get
Merck
into pharmaceuticals, and we'll get into that later.
Okay.
But King, do you have anything for our queen?
What's up? Can I just say? I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
He partied all day. I told him get a little loose so you can like feel the energy,
Yeah.
which is our theme song of the Come Out Talk Show. And he said when he showed up tonight on set, I could smell it. And he said, yeah, I'll be drinking all day. And I'm like, oh boy. I said, that doesn't make me feel confident, but I've watched and I'm so proud of you coming out of your show. You look stunning.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you too. I was listening backstage, and I'm wearing many hats tonight.
You are, and you again. Proud to call you one of my daughters,
and I'm proud to call you one of my mothers.
Thank you. So let's get into it. So
let's go.
My first question for you is, what have you done for the transgender community? And that could just be the whole show, y'all, because
my answer might shock you. So the question is, what have I done for the transgender community?
Mm-hmm.
I have done absolutely nothing for the transgender community. I do not portray myself as a hero of the transgender community. I do not speak for the entire transgender community. I am just Yonce Jones, and I speak for myself. Mm-hmm. So if that means when I was afforded an opportunity that I went and I spoke about my experience as a transgender woman, mm-hmm. and it got recognition based upon that I was a Black transgender woman who was homeless, who was in abusive marriage, who got sexually assaulted, who was addicted to a substance, who just gave up on life, and who happens to be HIV positive. I mean, those are significant issues that transgender women deal with on a daily basis. So in comparison, I'm speaking up for myself because I'm not afraid to do that today. But that took work to build yourself up to have a voice, to speak your truth. Today, I'm not ashamed to speak my truth. No one can shame me. Hence why I'm sitting here today to clear up some of those negative rumors that some transgender women put out there about me when they haven't even met me. I'm sorry, let me not just say transgender women, people spread rumors, gossip. You look at someone and you think, oh, I know this person. You've seen me on TV. Oh, I know her. No.
You know
or we've had a conversation and now, oh, I know her. No, you've seen me in passing 1 or 2 or 3 times. That does not mean you know me. You don't know what I eat to make me shit. So, therefore, hey, Brian, I stole that from one of my ambassador friends. But I have done absolutely nothing for the transgender community. I went out there and snatched the apples off the tree for myself, and it benefited the community for bringing awareness. I started when I was 17 years old, my transition. That clears up a rumor right there. You saw me with that big cell phone on my hip, went on a documentary explaining, and it went into further detail. If you want to check it out, you can look at it, the whole thing. But I put myself out there at a young age. I used to travel around to different colleges and speak to the students about what transgender was. That was in 1999. Now, I spoke about it before also. They didn't award us hormones back then. It was very against, I want to say against the law to even say you're transgender. Because as soon as you say you're transgender and different, they want to throw you into a mental asylum. You know how many times I got locked up in a mental hospital because I said I'm a girl and I was wearing girls' clothes, and they said, well, something's wrong with him, and not seeing, well, this is me. They forced me to take it off. I remember I was sent to an institution. They snatched my wig off. They stripped me of my clothes, and I refused to put on any clothes. They locked me in a quiet room naked. This is how I was treated when I was a child, a 6-year-old child saying, I'm a girl. Yes, at 6 years old, I spoke up. I said, I'm a girl. People used to call me the F word, agate. And that's what it was. My stepfather. Well, we'll get into family later. But I've done nothing for the transgender community. So I'd like you girls to get off my back coming for me saying, oh, you haven't done anything for the transgender community. You're absolutely right. But I have led engagements to Albany. I have taught many people how to look up policies, to get laws changed. I've led field trips to DC, Albany. We spoke to senators. I know them by name.
Yes.
We are cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And I always bring up their stories.
Yes.
We need funds for these type of programs.
That's right.
We need funds for people with mental illness. We need to clean the streets of people with mental illness, because why aren't we doing that? We're so worried about what's going on currently. We haven't even cleaned up the stuff. Hello? We in many pandemics. The crystal meth pandemic, the HIV pandemic, the COVID pandemic, the homeless pandemic, the educational pandemic. Like, and people are so judgmental on who you're supposed to be. You don't even know who you are to tell me who I'm supposed to be. And that's just in general. I watched a man today with his, I guess, wife. He picked up the baby out the stroller. He made a finger like this, holding the baby, stuck it in his chest, and kept going like this. The child cried. That child knew what his father was doing. My question is, why were you doing that? But just like you can judge me for walking around like this, I can judge you for what you just did. And you, ma'am, for allowing your baby daddy to put a gun, like, come on, to this child. Yeah, and he was boo-hooing. And I said, So I pass judgment on people that I need to keep myself safe.
Because you have to. You have to.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Thank you for King. You have a question for my daughter?
At what age you exactly transitioned?
So I tried to transition when I was 17, but let's be real about it. When I turned 21, my biological set in, and I was full beard and mustache. Prior to that, I wasn't. I was smooth as the baby's bottom. I could put on anything over my head, and everybody thought I was a girl. From a young age, I wrap a scarf around my head, put on a hat. We go out there and play baseball, basketball. I love sports. and I'm very tall. I don't mind being the tallest woman in the room. I will put on these 6-inch heels and I will strut. I want you to notice me when I come in the room. And this too, when a transgender woman walks into a room, everybody notice her. We are the most looked at person on the planet. I know some of y'all throwing tomatoes at me right now, but it's true. Wherever we go, whether y'all snicker, like it or don't, you notice us, you look, you stare, and then you compare your wives and your girlfriends. Like, why don't you get your nails done like that? Or why don't your toes look like hers? Or why is your makeup done all the time? Why is your hair? The stigma that we have to step out there looking like we just stepped out of a magazine every day bothers me. On days when I put on jeans, sweats, my Jordans, and I run outside, those are the days people want to stare at me the hardest. What's going on there? I'm gonna just start letting it all dangle and mangle when I go out. And then I'll really give you something to talk about. But I tried to transition then, and then when I was up in age, did you ask me what age? How dare you? I am 25 forever.
Okay.
But I transitioned a little later when I saw other people doing it and doing it and doing it well. I did my research. But the whole time when I detransitioned, I was at 21. I stopped. I went to be a plainclothes transgender. I'm wearing these clothes to make society feel comfortable so that I can skate through comfortably and not get killed for the way I really want to look. When the facial hair started coming in, I couldn't hide it. And I couldn't just pile makeup on it, nor shave and have all these razor bumps. So it wasn't the time then. But I had other options in life, which we're about to get into.
So my second question, Yonce, is describe what family means to you. And what was your relationship like with your biological family?
I was born into my mother when she was 14 years old. 14, 15, let her tell it 15, but my grandmother tells no tales and she's deceased. So this is my version of that. And when I speak and say mother, I mean the woman who birthed me, because she was not my mother. Don't get mad at me. Hear the story first. I was born to this woman at 14 or 15. I'm not being disrespectful, but I don't call her my mother, and I will not call her by her first name because I don't want people coming after me for money that I never considered into my life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, born to this lady, she's 14, 15 years old. She don't know how to raise a kid. My grandmother did her best. I am of mixed race. My mother's parents are from Germany, so hence my mother is German. Supposedly, I guess I'm a bastard child. I've never met my father. I don't know his name. I don't know anything about the man. And neither does my mother, because I've asked her, what is his name? And she got mad at me for asking her the question. So that lets me know that you don't know. Anyway, moving on. She had other kids by another man who did not recognize me as his child, but kept me for the money, because the state paid an adult to keep a child that is not theirs. I was a child. I was born with ADD, so I had ADD issues. Hence, I can't sit still. Mm-hmm. As an adult, it's ADHD. I have it under control. Sometimes I can't sit still for too long, and you know what I'm talking about. So I've learned how to
self-regulate.
Put it to my fingers. Mm-hmm. If you watch any video I'm in, or any time I'm sitting still, but my fingers is gone. My fingers might be going, my feet, my toes, or something. But that don't make people uncomfortable. So that's my way of skating through, doing what I got to do. I take my meds for ADD since I was a kid. When I didn't have them, I was hyper. That's not my fault you don't got them. So then I became this child that was problematic. They didn't want me anymore at my grandparents' house. Fast forward, long story, my mother had a drug habit. When we were kids, I came home from school and the house was empty. She was gone. I sat at my window, 6 years old, waiting for her. And the sun went down, the sun came up, the sun went down, the sun came up, the sun went down, the sun came up. And then my stepfather came to the house and he picked me up. Okay. They kept me for the money. They got rid of me because I was a FAGG word, and he used to call me that a lot. It was very abusive. So I did what any kid would do. I said, I'm going to kill myself if y'all don't remove me in school. I trusted my teachers. My teachers removed me. The state removed me. They were so pissed off with me for saying that they didn't want me anymore. Hence, my life in foster homes began. I was bounced. 6 years old. I was bounced from foster home to foster home to foster home to foster home. I can count maybe 50 when I was younger. Nobody wanted foster home anymore, me, because I was gay. That was the issue. They would say, we have a foster home for him, but he's gay. And that was the issue. My ADD wasn't an issue because guess what? Because I had ADD, they get more money for me. I wasn't considered a regular kid. I was a problematic kid. So they got thousands of dollars to keep me. So people would take me because of that reason, but the conditions in their home was poor. I wasn't awarded things that other kids were awarded. Sometimes sleeping in the same bed with other male children who would then do things to me that I did not want done to me. And it kept happening over and over in these foster homes. So I would act out in school. When someone called me that F word, I beat the shit out of them. So I became a bully because I was being bullied. If you said a word to me about my sexuality, basically I just beat the shit out of you. I went to jail because I beat the shit out of somebody. And when I was younger, I was 11, got locked up, and I did time. And still bounced around from foster home to foster home. And the whole time I kept asking God, because I was still going to church. Yes. And I was always
we met.
Talking to God. Yes, we met at church. And I asked God, why did you bring me here? My mom doesn't want me. What did I do to her? Why do all the other kids have families that love them? My mom and dad, sisters and brothers. And I'm just here. What have I done? And I'm a child asking God this, but I'm asking God this. Why did you make me like this? Why is it wrong? I'm a girl. And by girl, I mean I'm a girl. It doesn't matter what's between my legs. I am a girl. I can call myself whatever I want to call myself, and I stuck by that when I was younger. So fast forward to being an adult, you know, my grandmother passed away. She was the backbone of the family. Whatever she said went. And I detransitioned for real, for my siblings. Because they said you could see your siblings if you don't come looking like that. So I detransitioned, have a relationship with my siblings. And that didn't go too well because every time I kept seeing them, all they wanted from me was money. And I was called a half brother, a half sibling. He's not part of our family. My sister said, I look at you as a friend, not really my brother. Wow. And here I am. I changed my whole life. And all they wanted from me was money. So as an adult, I cut them off. They did not cut me off. I chose to cut them off because it was a toxic relationship and I needed to transition in peace. So I did just that. I sent my mother a letter from my lawyer telling her and her offspring, do not contact me from here out. And she hasn't, and she won't. I won't contact her or them. My brother passed away last year, and I went to the funeral, and they have kids now. They all have kids. They're grown adults. We're all adults. And that would mean if they put me in the obituary, they would have to explain who this beautiful woman is their uncle. And they did not do that. So they did not acknowledge me. That hurt me to my core because me and my brother were tight. Everybody who knows, and they think people don't know. What you do in the dark shall come to the light. People will talk. Yes. There were people there that did not appreciate that I was not included. Me and my brother were so close. Yes. He was gay. I was trans. Yes. He was my #1 supporter. Yeah. He supported me and I supported him until he died. Yeah. We had a falling out like brothers and sisters do, but we always come back together. That's right. While he was on his deathbed, it was COVID. I couldn't see him and I stayed on the phone with him for hours. I watched him deteriorate, but I watched him fight. He called himself King Thaddeus the Great, and he taught me how to live my life as royalty.
That's right.
And treat yourself kind, and not only yourself, but others. My brother hurt no one on this earth. He was an angel. He is an angel. Everyone who speaks of him has nothing bad to say, only good. And that's how I remember him, and I'll always love him. And if they put me in that obituary or not, it does not change the fact that I am his sister, and he is my brother. So after that funeral, you can imagine, and people come behind me, oh, that's your family, that's your family. Let me be clear. This is my family. You. Mama Rose, Ovella, my mothers, my Skittles, Dennis, my best friend, who's going to come on later. He wants to say a few things. And that's what family means to me, loyalty, encouragement. It's not, I love you, but I'm going to stand over here and judge you, and I'm going to bash you and talk bad about you. And when you need me, I'm not going to come. And I'm going to look at you side eyes because I'm just always judging you. That is not love. And if that is, I don't want that. You can keep it.
Beautiful. King, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
He only got 3 on his
What advice would you give your younger person trying to navigate through this world and not project the stigma towards them?
My advice that I would give a young person trying to navigate themselves into their transition and not allow people to project stigma on them or all of that stuff that we go through, be yourself. Go in your closet. That's what we say at church, right? Go in your closet, be to yourself, figure out what you want. Every girl's gonna come to you, Miss Thing, do this, because now we all experts. We're putting on women's clothes for a week, and all of a sudden now we experts on somebody else's transition, and we giving them tips and bobs because we just know everything. Y'all need to knock that shit off. Y'all need to let people grow into themselves.
That's right.
You can offer advice. Why don't you ask someone first? Hey, can I give you some advice? Because that's how advice works.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, let me tell you. That's another problem with our community. We got these attitudes. Like we are just top notch. Okay, your boobs is big, girl. I see you. Your ass is on fleek. Yes, your outfit is on head to toe. Ain't no hair out of place. Your face is beat. You are real. What else? What else is there? You have education? Do you have class? Do you have empathy? Do you have sympathy? The realest people for me are not the people who sit there and boast how much money they have and everything they've accomplished. And although I have done that here tonight, right? A little bit, but it's an interview.
This is your interview.
It's an interview, but there's a difference. If we're sitting around and all you telling me is how much money you make and all of this, you're not real to me. The realest people for me are the people who have been through something.
That's right.
Something deep that they have to come out of. Those are the people I want to hear about. I'll push you to the side in a minute because what you got, I can get it. We can all do it. We can bust our asses and get all these tangible things that people make the world to be. But what have you been through? What have you come out of? Mm-hmm. Those are the things I want to know. So let people transition how they're going to transition. My advice to you is do you. Ask who you must for help, but be wise and know that people are not going to treat you how you treat them.
And it's okay.
And it's quite all right.
It's okay.
Be true to yourself. My saying to get me through when I was a teenager is to thy own self be true.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So this question is kind of, again, how you and I became close.
Yeah.
You were the youth pastor at
New Rema.
Yes.
New Rema Church. Yes, I was the youth pastor ordained in front of my grandmother and my family.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then when we were at Pastor Vanessa Brown's church, that's how I met you.
Yes.
You were working with the youth. You had one of my sons.
The youth church. I used to work there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about that. How did you transition from that?
That wasn't my calling. I let someone talk me. So I started working in the youth church, just just because, you know, I love the youth. And I was learning too while teaching.
Yes.
And so that was a great experience. And then someone approached me. They said they were starting a church, and we got together. We went to the courthouse. We signed. But what they were telling me was they were a prophet, and it was a calling on my life to be a minister, not necessarily the youth pastor, a minister. So I went to the seminary classes, and I did everything I needed to do faithfully. And God has never been a stranger in my life. He is first, last, middle, everything, top, left, right, you name it, he is there as evident proof. I tell you no lie, but I'm not here to preach right now. I'm here to just tell you about the story. So I became a minister, ordained in front of my grandmother and my whole entire family, and they loved me. You hear me? I had so many friends during this time that we're speaking of. I was a person, I don't want to say his name, and you know, people just flocked to me. And then the pastor of that church told me, okay, now you're the youth pastor. You're the youth pastor. I don't know how to youth pastor. Just get up there and preach your sermons. But you are the youth pastor of this church. He ordained me youth pastor. Not only that, he told me I was a prophet. But see, I didn't need him to tell me I was a prophet because I already knew that before. I can have dreams and it comes to pass. I can sit here and talk to, like, get real deep with God and just see. I call it seer. Like in the Bible, seer and seer. Okay. So, yeah, that's how that went down. But he told me to check my sexuality outside of the church because I was very flamboyant sometimes. And I was very masculine when I needed to sometimes. I went through my life very beautiful man or woman. I had modeling contracts. I was awarded, I was a model. And I lived a very comfortable life as a youth pastor, as a model, as a man. And but I was very unhappy.
Because you weren't being who you were.
Right. I'm very unhappy. But yes, I was the youth pastor, and that was a big mistake. So I said to them, I can't do this, and I'm going to go transition. And I was banished to the underworld to
Wow.
I'm on my best behavior tonight, huh?
No, you
I haven't cursed or nothing. Shit!
So let's move on to the battle with substance abuse.
All right, this is a serious one. Okay, yes, I got into an accident. I've never been addicted to anything except for weed, pothead. Oh, sorry. Since I was in high school, I was a pothead, still a pothead. And I got into an accident, ceiling fell on me, cracked my spine. And so I had to get my spine fixed, and I had spinal surgery, but that shit hurt. And they gave me Percocets, oxycodons, Percocets, oxycodons, and I was just popping them shits, and they made me feel so good. And then, of course, I got the surgery, and then I healed, and then they took those pills away from me, but my body needed something. So wound up hanging out with people that I shouldn't have been hanging out with. I ain't going to name names because I don't never tell about anybody else's struggles. That's for them to tell. But I'll talk to you about mine. And they gave me something, and I was a willing participant. I could never blame my battle with substances on anyone else except for myself because I took it. I did it. And guess what? I liked it. It took one time. And you might be wondering, well, what did she do? What did she do? That's not important. Listen to the message. Because as soon as I tell you what I did, there are predators that will watch that and say, I know how to get her now. I'm going to offer her what she's battling to stay away from. And I've been clean for a good, that's not important either, nor is that anybody's business because they like to come at you for that. Oh, you haven't been clean long enough. Just know I'm clean. I don't want that substance and I don't seek it. And anybody who has it, I banish your ass to the underworld. Like, don't come at me. Even if we ran together, you could tell my story if you want, but I'm going to sit here and tell it today because I'm canceling all of y'all appointments today. All of that shit that y'all talk, and y'all know who y'all are. Yeah, I got some drama because when you on national public TV, cable TV, there are bitches out here. And I say bitches because I'm just saying bitches. And if the shoe fits, you wear it, bitch. When they are out here running their mouths, first of all, it's the wrong information. Second of all, you don't know me to be telling my story. And third of all, we was running years ago. How you remember that, bitch? When you was wrapped in the curtain. Be quiet. In the bathroom. Under the bed. In the club. Running back. Okay. How you remember my story so well, but you forgot yours?
So there's a saying, you know, people take pride in people putting their problems down to carry yours. That takes a lot. Mm-hmm. You put your problems down to pick up mine, to pick up my burdens.
So they're out here getting my story wrong.
And it's like you have your
it comes back to me through other people. And let me say this to you girls too. I think it's okay to come up to me and say, well, so-and-so said that that's what you sound like to me. That don't sound cute, do it?
No, not at all.
That's what you sound like to me when you're telling me what another girl is saying to me. So what I say to you is, what are you doing while she's talking about me? Exactly. Number one. Number two, how did I come up? Number three, all of that is bullshit. Now I'm looking at you because why didn't she have the balls to tell me? But you're coming here telling me. So I cancel both them girls, boys, or whatever y'all are that are always in my business. I cancel y'all out. No, we're not cool. No, we can't be cool. And I don't do drama. You cannot come up to me and talk about you. I'm not going to entertain it. If I do,
then you just
call me a lie. No, I'm going to pull one of DS's lines. If what I'm saying is a lie, call me on it. But you can't because that don't happen. You're not going to talk to me about anybody. I don't tolerate it at work. I don't tolerate it and where I live. I'm not going to shit where I live anyway because I rest here comfortably and peacefully in my home. So all of that nonsense, let's cut that out. But the substance I had used, it drove me, so the Percocets and stuff, and that's how I got on it. I was hooked upon one time, and I struggled to get off of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I really struggled, and I hated myself, and I hid, and it was a rough time. But trouble don't last always.
It sure does.
And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm just grateful to be alive. I OD'd a few times, woke up in the hospital. I had a heart attack. And what prompted me to get myself together, my brother, I thought I could hide it from him. So my brother called me on it. And he said, you're doing something different, and I don't like it, and stop that shit. And this is how he spoke to me. And I love you for that. And it was that day that I decided I'm going to do something about this. And I did not look back. It was a struggle, like I said. I never had to go to a rehab or anything, thank God. But I have real friends. I have friends I've met along my journey. And they put me on a plane. They whisked me away. And I went in peace. And I got myself together. By myself, with myself. They told me, bring nothing but yourself. I left all my belongings behind, and I had my shirt on my back, maybe a basket of belongings, which was not a lot. I left a whole apartment behind just to start a fresh life. And that was the best decision I ever made for my life. That moment. And it was the push of my brother. I did not want to disappoint my brother. When he says I'm disappointed, that hurt me. But I love him.
Wow.
And I know he's very proud of me today.
We all are. We all are.
I did that audition for the Neglected Pandemic on Vice that's playing on Hulu. I'm on Hulu. I'm on fucking Hulu.
You see, the blessing is manifesting itself in your life now. All those times that you wanted to commit suicide.
I tried.
Right. And God said no.
Yeah, he did. You did.
God said, just follow me and listen. And that's what you did.
I did.
You know?
I submitted.
You have a story that needs to be told. And so this is why you're here, right?
Amen.
You started off by telling us your experiences, and now the marriages that you had, the domestic violence that you've experienced.
Yeah.
Your story is helping someone, even if they're not looking at it now. When they turn on YouTube or go to YouTube or go to Hulu, your story is going to be impactful. Not because this is fictitious. This is who you are, the experiences of you.
It's my truth.
It's your truth. And your test is someone else's testimony.
Yep.
So speak to us about your marriages.